I can hardly believe it, but it's already time to do my April budget. It's going to be another weird month with minimal housing expenses, taxes coming due, and a credit card hangover from March. I'll share how I'm planning on allocating my income and managing my expenses coming up next. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today I'm going to be putting together my April budget. This is something that I do in the middle of the month, and I don't always have all the numbers, so I use estimates, and I think my budget is always meant to be flexible. I don't look at it as being set in stone once I put the numbers down. And that has never been more true than in this month. There's a lot of unknowns, and I could put it off until later in the month to plan for it, but I'm not sure that those unknowns will become known by then. So all I can do is give it my best shot. I've got a couple of things in place to account for any shortfalls or any overages. So if my budget comes up short, I've got the blip fund and I've got my emergency fund if things really come to it. And if I've got an overage, or if I end up with more money at the end of the month than I anticipate, then I've got my savings goals. I will either fully fund my blip fund or add more to it, depending on how much it is. And I've also got my Roth IRA contributions. And on top of that, I have my big move goal. So I keep my goals front and center here in my book. And these are the ones that I decided I was going to work on this year. Now, if you saw my video from last week, you'll know that I fully funded my emergency fund already. So that's taken care of. Next up is the blip fund and the Roth IRA. The blip fund I'm contributing $200 to out of every paycheck, and that will be fully funded at $2,400, and I'm almost halfway there. The other goal that I'm working on is fully funding my Roth IRA. That's $7,000 for the year, and this is what I'm doing on Monday nights with game night. I'm putting all of that money toward my Roth IRA. Once these two are fully funded, the next thing that I'm saving for is the big move, which is where I'm planning to move to another state. And so that is a bigger goal, a longer term goal, meaning over a couple of years, maybe, hopefully not that long. Um, and so that's what I'm working on. So with that in mind, I started putting together my numbers for April. The first thing that I did is I went to my budget sheets to look to see if I have anything that's coming up in April. Now, my monthly subscriptions, these are things that I pay every month, and they're already reflected in the bills section of my monthly budget overview. So if I get any new recurring expenses, I'll put them in here. But I haven't had any for quite a while. And in fact, when I started the year, I had 5, and I've already canceled 3. So the next thing that I look at is the yearly subscription tracker. So these are things that come up once per year. And I've written the months down here for anything that not anything that I'm expecting, but when I'm expecting those expenses. So I had one in March, which was a credit card annual fee. The next one that I have is my Canva Pro subscription, and that doesn't come out until June. So for April, I'm in the clear. But I do have some other expenses that are non-monthly and non-annual that come out periodically. So the first thing is I have my prescriptions. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I used to get these every month, but then my pharmacy switched me to a 90-day supply and didn't tell me. So that was a shock to the budget for 1 month, but now I'm prepared, and my refills will come due in April, so I need to plan for those, and that's going to be $150. That's again for a 3-month supply, or about $150. That's what I'm planning on. We'll see what they actually end up being. Then, in the even numbered months, I'm also getting my haircut. This is something that I didn't plan for, and it tripped me up in February. I'll get my next haircut in April, so I need to plan for that, and that's going to be about $100. That includes the cost of the haircut, gratuity for the barber, the cost to get there, and lunch while I'm doing it. I make kind of a day of it because my barber is pretty far away from me, but she does great work, so that's why I go to her. So that's a bi-monthly expense. The pharmaceuticals are quarterly. So I had those recorded here and I made sure that they were in my budget. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a blank form for my monthly budget. And if you've been watching me for a while, then you know what those look like. I'll bring out the March one, which is here. So it's going to look a lot like this, except been some changes to my expenses, both one time and permanent. So we'll go over those as soon as I get that set up. All right, so here I've got my blank monthly budget sheet, and I'm going to set this up for April. So we'll write in April of 2025. For income, I have my regular income sources, which are paycheck one, $3,070. Paycheck two, also $3,070. I am on salary and I get paid twice per month, once on the 15th and once on the last day of the month. I get a cell phone reimbursement from my company, and that is always $100. And then I'm also expecting a refund of a deposit that I put down on an apartment that I ended up not moving into. And if you've been following me, then you know the story. If not, I've covered it in other videos. I won't rehash it here. So that's 400. So we'll get out the calculator here. So 3,070, 3,070, 100, 400, 6,640. These are round numbers. These two should be exact. These two, the actual will be a couple dollars higher, but I just round for the sake of making the numbers easier to work with. I'm also expecting to get a bonus from work in April, but I really don't know how much that's going to be. And so I prefer to leave it off. If I do get that bonus, or when I get that bonus, then I will just put it toward one of my savings goals. So then it's time for the bills section. And ordinarily, the first bill on the list is rent. But I don't pay rent in April. I'm on a promo at my new apartment, so I don't have a rent bill for the month of April. But I do have the final bill from my previous apartment, and I don't know how much that's going to be, and I don't know when I'm going to get it. I did put a deposit down, but that will cover probably the last month's worth of utilities. On top of that, there's also a cleaning fee. And if there's any damage to the apartment that they want me to pay for, then that will also be reflected in that. I didn't leave anything damaged, I don't think. But if I get charged, $100 or something for something small, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to pay it. So I've planned for $500 for this part of the budget. Final apartment bill. Just because I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what the cleaning fee is. I don't know how much those utilities are going to cost. So we'll see. Also, I may get a new water, sewer, garbage bill from my new place. I don't know if I will or not. And if I do, I have no idea how much it's going to be. But if I do, that will be $100. Or that's what I'm budgeting for at any rate. I also will be refilling my Orca card, which is the local transit card, and this time I'm budgeting $120. This is more than I've budgeted in the past, but since moving, I'm using transit a lot more. So I will buy a monthly pass, and then I will need to top that up periodically when I make longer distance trips, like to the office or anything with regional transit as opposed to local. All right, also on the 1st, or thereabouts, renter's insurance will come out. And that should be $15. On the 1st, I will make a contribution to the Blip Fund, which is a savings account. And that will be $205. I always put an extra $5 in. I just kind of got into that habit. On the 2nd, iCloud, my monthly subscription for $3. On the 5th, internet, which is now through Quantum. I was with Astound previously, now it's Quantum, just based on where I live. And instead of $50, it's $80. I was on a great promo with Astound for $50 a month, but they raised it in my last month there to about the same. So I can't complain, and it's fantastic internet. It's all fiber, so it's super fast. Also, around the 5th, I'm expecting a bill for utilities. This will include account setup charges, and I don't know how much that's going to be, so I'm going to put in $150. On the 10th, YouTube Premium. And that would be $16. On the 15th, taxes. Now, I will probably pay these before the 15th, but I want to make sure that I get them paid before the 15th. I don't know if I will owe anything, but that $400 that came in from the deposit refund, I'm putting toward taxes. So if I end up not needing this $400, then I will again put it toward a savings goal, or it will go toward one of these other bills that I don't know the amount of yet. Okay, so then on the 16th, another contribution to the blip fund, which is a savings account. And that will be 205. Around the 19th is when I should be getting my haircut. Now I'm putting it in here as a bill, just because that's where it makes the most sense to me. I could put it into my wallet spend, but I'm just going to put it in here as a bill. Also on the 19th is about when my prescriptions should be refilled, 150. The 21st, a payment to a firm for $43. This is for my cell phone hardware. My company gives me a reimbursement, but because I was allowed to finance it at 0%, I financed it. I had no problem doing that. I have about 7-8 months left, I think, but I'm probably going to need a new phone before then. The battery isn't doing as well. The screen has a little scratch in it. The charging port is starting to go. So I usually get a new phone every couple of years just because I'm really hard on my phone. I work in sales, and so I'm on the phone all the time. My cell phone is my work phone. I'm also using it to check email and the news and the stock market and do YouTube and everything else. So my phones tend not to last more than a couple of years. So I may end up paying this off and then financing a new phone if I can get the same deal. If not, that may be one of the things that the excess, if there is any from this month, goes toward is the purchase of a new phone. All right, also on the 24th, or I should say on the 24th, because that was the 21st, Visible, which is my cell phone plan, $35. And then that's it for bills. So I'm going to total these up here. And I get $2,122. So we'll put that down here. And I should have been filling in the section over here as I finish these. So 6,640 income, 2,122 bills. Wallet spend, we've got all the Fridays in April, so the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th, $250 each. So that will be a total of 1,000 down here. Stockpiles, I've got some that I want to contribute to on 4/1 and some on 4/16. On the 1st, $200. And on the 16th, $1,000. And I'll go into more detail in these in the cash allocation sheet here in a minute. But for now, that's going to be $1,200. Savings and extra debt. This will be from game night. So this is every Monday in April, the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. And I'm going to increase my contributions to my retirement plan to $300 a week in April. And then I also, on the 1st, am going to put $1,000 toward the credit card hangover. All the moving expenses and all of that really pushed credit card spending higher than it should have been in March. So I need to make sure that I get that paid off before it turns into debt and I start accruing interest. So altogether, we're looking at 1,200 plus 1,000, so 2,200. We'll plug that in here. So from the total, we've got 2,122, 1,000, 1,200, and 2,200. 6522 from 6640. Oops, I did that wrong. 2122, 1,000, 1,200, 2,200. 6,522, 6640 in income leaves me a buffer of $118. So that's the monthly budget overview. Again, a lot of these numbers are going to be wrong, and there may be more income. Some of these are going to be potentially wildly off. So we'll see how it goes. But this is the best plan that I can make. Life is full of surprises. You never know what's going to happen. And I may have to reallocate things, and I'm okay with that. But for now, this is the monthly budget. And I'll start filling in some of the other sheets that I prepare each month here in just a moment. This is my cash allocation sheet, and this I fill out each month for both my wallet spend and for my stockpiles. Some people call stockpiles sinking funds. In fact, I think most people do, but I always got used to thinking of them as stockpiles, as in I'm setting this money aside for a specific purpose. I don't refer to it as savings or anything like that because I intend to spend that money. Savings to me is something where you don't have a definitive purpose for it. It is just there in case you need it. In the case of these funds, I know exactly what they're going toward, and I know exactly how much I need, or roughly how much I need, and what I want to spend it on. So I'm going to fill this in for April. And for the wallet spend, it's always pretty much the same. So I have groceries, and I always put the date as the Friday because that's when my weeks start for budgeting, and $150. And then cash, which could be for anything, same day, Friday, $100. And I do this for every single week. Now, it doesn't always work out this way. Groceries. Sometimes I end up using this for things that aren't groceries. Sometimes the cash doesn't get used hardly at all. And so it just really is kind of discretionary spending, but it's really intended for food related expenses mostly, which is one of the reasons why I didn't put my haircut into the wallet spend, although I very well could have. And the last one, 425, 150, and cash. And the reason why groceries is $150 a week for a household of one, is because number one, food is expensive here. And also because this isn't just food, it's also things like laundry detergent and shampoo and toilet paper and all of the other household items that kind of just fall into that budget. I don't dice this too finely because for me, I find that it doesn't um, offer me any insight. So whether that money gets spent on broccoli or paper towels, it doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. If I had a larger household size, then yes, I probably would break this out, but I would also be dealing with much larger numbers here. So the total for this month for the cash allocation is going to be $1,000 because it's $250 a week, as we did in the monthly budget overview. And I've kept this sheet out as a reference. And then for my stockpiles, I have 3 of them for this month. So I want a jersey, and that will be around $200. This will be a Seattle Sounders jersey. They just released a new design that is beautiful. I don't really care about soccer. I'm not big on professional sports in general, but this jersey, it is just amazing. They collaborated with the tribes and it's got a sea theme and I want it. So I've allocated the money for it, and will be the first thing to go if I end up needing this money somewhere else because I don't need it, but it's a want, and I don't treat myself too often, and I've been really focused on my goals. So it's kind of a reward, and it's like I've got this one-time surplus of income because I don't have rent this month. So this is the time to do it for me if I'm going to do it at all. So that's one item. Another item is furniture. So for that, I'm planning on the 16th, although this might need to come out sooner because I do need furniture in this new place that I didn't in my old place. I have far less closet space here, so I need to get like a wardrobe and a bookcase and potentially some other things as well. So I am budgeting $500 for that. And then I also want to take a weekend trip. I will either see a friend of mine who lives down near Portland, or a friend of mine who lives in the Olympia area. But either way, that's going to be a weekend away. So I'm going to plan for it out of the 16th, but I'm not sure exactly when that trip is going to be because the 16th is not a weekend. That's the middle of the week. So, but this will be the paycheck that it will come out of. And I'm going to plan on $500 for that. And apologies, there's an emergency vehicle going by, so we're going to hear sirens here for a moment. But that's really it for the cash allocation. So that's going to be 1200, which matches up here. So both of these match, they balance. Next, I am going to set this aside and we'll just set up the monthly cash flow tracker. And I'm not really filling in much here besides the month and the year. This is what I use to keep track of all of the comings and goings from my checking account. I don't yet know what the beginning balance will be, and of course, I don't know the ending balance either. But I'm just preparing the sheet so that when April starts, it's ready to go. So there's that. And then the monthly expense tracker is kind of the same thing. This is where I fill in any of the non-cash expenses that I spend every week. So if it's not a bill and it's not spent in cash, then it goes here. So this is any of the wallet spend that goes on a credit card, and anything that is like unbudgeted, like if it's an emergency or something like that, all of those expenses will go here. And then this is what I use to plug into the numbers over here every week when I do my budget update. So that's that. And then the last sheet is the month end review. And obviously, since the month hasn't started, there's not much we can review, but I can at least plug in the numbers that I intend to start with. So what the plan is. So planned income is 6,640. Total bills, 2,122. Wallet spend, 1,000. Stockpiles, 1,200. Savings, 1,200. Extra debt, 1,000. And remainder of 118. Now, just to be clear, this debt is not actually what I would call debt yet because I haven't paid any interest on it. To me, debt is only balances that you owe that you're paying interest on. Then it's debt. Then it's something that if I'm paying interest, I got to get rid of that as soon as I can. This is money that I've spent on a credit card, but that bill hasn't even come in yet. And then there's a grace period on top of it. So within the grace period, if I get it paid off, I figure I'm in the clear. It's money that I haven't earned yet, but at the same time, I'm not intending on turning it into a revolving balance. I am planning on using the money that's coming in to pay it off. And if something else goes haywire and things hit the fan, then the blip fund is there. And if that's not enough to cover it, then I've got the emergency fund. But realistically, the $1,000, I should be able to absorb that easily. And that's what's over here. If I can't, then the stockpile money goes away. And if that can't cover it, if there's something else going on, then we're into the emergency situation. And then I've got those savings accounts. So that's it for the April budget. If you're interested in seeing how I do with it and how these numbers turn out to be true or not true, then be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can follow me every week. I share all the real numbers with everything that I spend and everything that I earn. And I've got game nights on Mondays. I've also got my Etsy shop where all of these worksheets are available, as well as savings challenge games, scratch offs, and a bunch of other fun things to help you with your savings. Thank you so much for watching, and especially for watching to the end. I do appreciate it. And again, if you're new, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and until I see you in the next one, take care.